Hey everyone, it's Allie and welcome to my channel, and today I am super excited to be sharing with you my big birthday book haul. Alright, so yeah, it is that time of year. My birthday is just a few days away and I am very excited to be sharing with you a lot of books from Book Outlet as well as just some other books that I've picked up over the last few months. So I believe I've got about 30 books to share with you all. The vast majority of those did come from Book Outlet. And not sponsored, but Book Outlet is just such a great place to buy books. I find that their prices a lot of times are the same or even less than used bookstores, and all of the books that are sold on Book Outlet are new. They are like overstock from places like Costco and Target, and because they do get a lot of overstock, a lot of the books on Book Outlet are really popular, and so I was able to get a lot of newer books and books that have just been on my list for a while. And just so you know what you're getting into, I do like to read a lot of thrillers as well as historical fiction, literary fiction. Really don't pick up romance at all anymore. But yeah, pretty much all the other genres I do really enjoy. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it, and I'll start off with everything that I did get from Book Outlet. Here is the first box, and it looks a little bit banged up, but thankfully everything is in perfect condition. So I was so excited to see that Book Outlet did have The Ink Black Heart, which is a book in the Cormoran Strike series. I think it might be the 6th book, and I've been reading this series. I've been reading one a month since I think July, and I'm so grateful that I've been able to find every book in the series that's out so far at library sales, thrift stores, places like that. This is the only one that I hadn't found yet, and I'm so mad actually because this was at a recent library sale that I went to, but I was thinking in my head that I had it already and I just got this mixed up with a different one. So just a reminder to have all the books that you're looking for in a notes app on your phone so you know what you have and what you need. But this was $32 originally, and you will never catch me paying that much for a book. Like, I could get 5-6 books for that price. But not too much to say about this. It is just a book in the middle of a series. It does follow the detective Cormoran Strike and his business partner Robin, and each book follows a different case. So some books I like more than others, but overall I'm really liking the series and I love the writing style. And they're thick books too, so if you like a long book, definitely check out this series. Next up, we've got a brand new thriller. This came out in 2024, and this was definitely on my radar. I wanted to pick it up when I heard a lot of other people talking about it. Perfect for this time of year. I have so many books that I want to read before the end of November, but I might have to squeeze this in. So this is written by Amy Tintera, I think is how you say her name, and this is actually her adult debut, but it looks like she did write some maybe like young adult novels. She's got lots of good reviews from a lot of big thriller authors on the back, so very much hoping for a new favorite author here. And this sounds so good to me. It says, Lucy and Savvy were the golden girls of their small Texas town, pretty smart and enviable. Lucy married a dream guy. Savvy was the social butterfly, loved by all. But after Lucy is found wandering the streets covered in her best friend Savvy's blood, everyone thinks she's a murderer. Flash forward, it's been years since that horrible night, and Lucy can't remember anything about it, but she's moved to LA and she started a new life. But a podcast, Listen for the Lie, I love thrillers that have podcasts woven in. The host, Ben Owens, has decided to investigate Savvy's murder. So this has a lot of potential, I think, and do let me know if you've read this. Next up, we've got another thriller. This is Only If You're Lucky by Stacey Willingham. I did read her 2 other books, All the Dangerous Things and A Flicker in the Dark, and I would say she's a solid like 4 to 4.5 star author for me. I don't remember either of those books majorly blowing me away, but I know that I did enjoy them, and I had it in my mind for sure that Stacey Willingham is an author that I want to be on the lookout for. I feel like she's kind of in the same vein as Megan Miranda, like always worth reading, but probably will never be like your favorite. We've got another Lucy. Lucy Sharp is larger than life, magnetic and addictive, bold and dangerous, especially for Margot, who meets Lucy at the end of their freshman year at a liberal arts college in South Carolina. So I love that. Now that I live in South Carolina, I love when books are set in the state. And I also love books that are set in education, so I think this will be a lot of fun. Margot is shy, she's the sidekick, she's never the center of attention, but when Lucy singles her out at the end of the year and asks her to room together, Margot can't say no. So Margot finds herself living with 3 other girls, Lucy, Sloane, and Nicole. Margot and Lucy have become the closest of friends, but by the middle of their sophomore year, one of the fraternity boys from the house next door has been brutally murdered, and Lucy is missing without a trace. So I do feel like out of the Stacey Willingham novels that I have read, this sounds the most interesting to me, so definitely hoping for at least 4.5 stars here. This is kind of random. This is the third book in the Truly Devious series. I randomly have the first one, now the third one, and I also have the fifth one. Truly Devious was originally a trilogy. The main story is a trilogy, and then there were two like spin-off novels, I guess. I'm going to be reading the first book, Truly Devious, this month of October, so I'm excited to get into the series, but still on the lookout for books 2 and 4. But this is a YA thriller that's set at Ellingham Academy, which just sounds so idyllic. I think it's supposed to be in Vermont. And as I said, I haven't read the first one yet, but it seems kind of like a Good Girl's Guide to Murder series where there is a girl who is investigating a cold case. So if you're looking for a new YA thriller series to read, I would highly recommend looking into the Truly Devious series. Alright, let's step away from the thrillers for a minute and talk about Darling Girl, which I am so eager to get to. This is by Liz Michalewski, and this is a Peter Pan retelling, and one of my favorite subgenres of fantasy, one of my favorite genres in general, is fairy tale retellings or just like old story retellings as this is. And Peter Pan is for sure one of my favorite Disney movies. And this sounds cool because I guess it is set in modern times. It says, life is looking up for Holly Darling, granddaughter of Wendy. Yes, that Wendy. She's running a successful skincare company, her son Jack is happy and healthy, and the tragedy of her past is well behind her. Until she gets a call that her daughter Eden, who has been in a coma for nearly a decade, has gone missing from the estate where she's been long tucked away. And worst of all, Holly knows who must be responsible. Peter Pan, who is not only very real, but very dangerous. So it sounds like there's a lot going on here, but I'm really excited to get into this, probably I would say in winter. So now we've got another fantasy book. This is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong, I know she is a very popular author. So she wrote this Six of Crows duology, it looks like, and then she also wrote the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I feel like all of her books have been wildly successful. I've seen them everywhere, but I just never picked one of them up yet. And this book is really highly rated. It has an average of 4.48 stars on Goodreads, which reminds me, if you don't follow me on Goodreads yet, I am pretty active on there, so if you want to see what I'm reading in real time, definitely check out my Goodreads account, which I always have linked down below. So I have very high hopes for this. I feel like with fantasy, I either love it or don't really like it at all. To me, it can get cheesy a little quickly. But this says, a convict with a thirst for revenge, a sharpshooter who can't walk away from a wager. I feel like I don't have a lisp in real life, but for some reason, when I'm trying to record videos, I swear I develop a lisp. So sorry about that, but a runaway with a privileged past, a spy known as the Wraith, a heartrender using her magic to survive the slums, a thief with a gift for unlikely escapes. Kaz Brecker and his crew are the only ones who might stand between the world and destruction if they don't kill each other first. So very, very excited to jump into this one. I feel like I need to put it aside until winter just because I have so many other books I want to get to this fall, and I am for sure afraid that if I really love this book, I'm just going to want to eat up the whole series. But one that I probably will squeeze into October is A Mystery of Mysteries, The Death and Life of Edgar Allan Poe. Such a cool cover, such a perfect fit for October. And this is a nonfiction book, and I do try to read one nonfiction book a month, so this can be my pick for October. And it's funny because I feel like I have been hearing a lot about Edgar Allan Poe recently, not just because it is spooky season, but because where I live in South Carolina, pretty close to Charleston, Edgar Allan Poe actually lived on Sullivan's Island, which is just outside of Charleston, for a year when he was in the military. He also apparently had a little love affair with someone in Charleston, so I was just on a ghost tour not too long ago and they were telling that story. So since he has some ties to the area, I definitely want to learn more about him, and I like that this book isn't super thick because sometimes nonfiction can get a little dense. Now we've got a historical fiction book, and this is The Magnolia Palace by Fiona Davis. And Fiona Davis is for sure a huge name in historical fiction, but I don't know that I've actually read anything by her yet. But it looks like this is set in New York City in 1919, and I like that because so many historical fiction books are set during World War II, which is fine, but I don't like reading that back to back to back. Poor 21-year-old Lillian Carter's life has completely fallen apart. For the past 6 years, under the moniker Angelica, Angelica, Lillian was one of the most sought-after artist models in New York City. But with her mother gone, a grieving Lillian is desperate, the work has dried up, and a looming scandal has left her entirely without a safe haven. So when she stumbles upon an employment opportunity at the Frick Mansion, Lillian jumps at the chance. But the longer she works as a private secretary for the family, the more deeply her life gets intertwined with theirs, pulling her into a tangled web of romance, stolen jewels, and family drama that runs so deep the stakes just might be life or death. And then we also are following English model Veronica 50 years in the future. So I love that. I love when two different timelines are tied together, but it sounds like the 1919 storyline will be the prominent one. Now let's go back to a spooky one. This is T. Kingfisher's A House with Good Bones. Absolutely love that cover. And it says Southern hospitality to die for. So again, love reading books set in the South now. And I've just heard so many good things about this author, and I've never read anything by them before. So it sounds like the main character's mom is a little off. Something's going on with her. It says gone is the warm, cluttered charm her mom is known for. Now the walls are painted a sterile white. Her mom jumps at the smallest noises and looks over her shoulder even when she's the only person in the room. Sam goes out back, she finds a jar of teeth hidden, and vultures are circling the garden from above. To find out what's got her mom so frightened in her own home, Sam will go digging for the truth, but some secrets are better left buried. So looking forward to getting into this one. This is also not too thick, so if I can squeeze it into October, I will, but if not, definitely November. Next up, we have the first book in another series. This is The Foxglove King by Hannah Whitten. Allie Hazelwood said, "The Foxglove King will be the book of your dreams and your nightmares." So I did read For the Wolf by this author. I do have the second one in that series, For the Throne, that I still need to get to. So I'm for sure gonna finish that series before I get into this one. But I've heard so many good things about this, and yeah, I got it for a great deal on Book Outlet, so I wanted to snatch it up. I do really like Hannah Whitten's writing style, so if you are looking for a new YA fantasy author, I would recommend checking her out. And I think this book was actually a little bit better received than the For the Wolf, For the Throne duology. This says, Laura has been living by her wits since she was a child, running poisons for the cartel that took her in, avoiding the attention of the law, and keeping her affinity for death magic a secret. Because mortem is a rare and illicit commodity, and using it could mean death. When a job goes wrong, Laura suddenly finds herself thrust into a lavish court where no one can be believed and even fewer can be trusted. So we'll see how this goes, but I'm anxious to hear your thoughts about this book if you have read it. Last book in the first box, we've got kind of a random one, but this is Margaret Peterson Haddox's The Strangers. So this was written in 2019, but you might have read some of this author's books when you were in like middle school. So this is a middle grade book, and I do really like reading good middle grade fiction. It says ages 8 to 12, or add 20 years to that, and that's fine too. It says, what makes you you? Chess has always been the protector of his younger siblings, Emma loves math, and Finn acts silly so he will be adored. They've been a happy family, the three of them and their mom. But everything changes when reports of 3 kidnapped children who share the same first and middle names and exact birth dates reach the Greystone family. This bizarre coincidence makes them wonder, who exactly are these strangers? Before Chess, Emma, and Finn can ask their mom, she takes off on a mysterious work trip. Puzzling clues left behind lead to complex codes, hidden rooms, and a dangerous secret that will turn their world upside down. And this is a series, so hopefully I will really like it, and I will have a new middle grade series to dive into. First box down. Okay, so I'm so excited about these next two things. They are actually activity books. And so if you didn't know, you can actually get activity books, puzzles, I think even like cards, stuff like that you can find on Book Outlet. And I feel like it's a great place to shop for Christmas gifts, or just yourself if you are looking for some ways to get off some screens, as I am. Both of these books are dot-to-dot puzzles. I could not say that. So this one is dot-to-dot puzzles for mindfulness. And I just love it because it's like an adult activity book. And I was someone who I loved doing this kind of stuff when I was a kid, so why would I stop doing it as an adult? And for me, I do find this kind of thing really relaxing, just sitting at my desk, putting an album on, and just doing this for like half an hour. And I like it because even though I would say I am an artistically brained person, I would not say I'm super great at like painting or ceramics or things like that. I do want to work on those things and get better at them, but it's nice to have something like this where it doesn't really require any talent, but you do feel like you're doing an art project. So yeah, here is this one. And then this one is really big. I was not expecting that. This one is called Ultimate Dot-to-Dot Extreme Puzzle Challenges to Complete and Color. So this one is crazy. I'm definitely going to do the other book first that's a little bit more for beginners. And I think both of these books were like $5 or $6, so truly this is cheap entertainment. It's a good way to get off your screen. Okay, back to fiction. We've got a thriller, No One Can Know, by Kate Alice Marshall. I did read another book by her, I think last year, What Lies in the Woods, I think I got from Book of the Month. And this one was just written last year, so definitely a pretty recent book. A lot of these books that I've been talking about came out last year or the last couple of years. So again, not sponsored by Book Outlet, but you can use my code in the description to get some money off your first order. It says 3 sisters, 2 murders, and too many secrets to count. 14 years ago, the Palmer sisters, Emma, Juliet, and Daphne, left their home in Arden Hills and never returned. But when Emma discovers she's pregnant and her husband loses his job, she has no option but to return to the house that she and her estranged sisters still own, and where their parents were murdered. Emma learns some things. The more Emma learns, the more riddles emerge, and Emma begins to wonder just what her siblings will do to keep the past buried and whether she did the right thing staying quiet about what was whispered that night. No one can know. This sounds super good. I literally just got goosebumps from reading that. And What Lies in the Woods was for sure a solid thriller, and this one sounds even better. This one I totally picked up because it is set in Savannah. It's called The Kingdoms of Savannah by George Dawes Green. And I'm not sure if this is a thriller. It might just be labeled as literary fiction, but it's telling some of the darker tales of Savannah, because as you may know, Savannah is, I think, considered the most haunted city in the US, but it is so beautiful. So I think this book will kind of play into that. Going off of the description, it will probably be talking about how beautiful it looks on the outside, but then we'll dive deep into some of the family secrets. It's not nonfiction, but it really will be playing off of the real life situation of Savannah. I love that where I live now, I only live like an hour and a half from Savannah, so I definitely want to get there this month. Really thrilled about this one. I have to find a way to fit this into Halloween or else I'm gonna have to wait till next year. Such a Halloween looking book. This is Rachel Harrison's Cackle, like the most amazing Halloweenish cover. And I've heard a lot of people talking about this and I've heard a lot of good things. So all her life, Annie has played it nice and safe. She accepts a new teaching position and moves from Manhattan to a small village upstate. She's stunned by how perfect the little town is. The people are all friendly and warm. Her new apartment is dreamy too, aside from the oddly persistent spider infestation. Then Annie meets Sophie, beautiful, charming, magnetic Sophie, who takes a special interest in Annie and wants to be her friend. Annie can't help but gravitate towards Sophie and starts to spend more and more time with her, despite the fact that the rest of the townsfolk seem a little afraid of her. So it's kind of like Annie trying to figure out, is Sophie a witch? So this sounds like it'll be a pretty fun, maybe more lighthearted Halloweenish read. So maybe I'll read this like October 30th to 31st to really get me in the mood. This is one that I have been on the lookout for a while. This is The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry, and this is by Gabrielle Zevin, who wrote Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which was absolutely one of my favorite books that I read last year. Going off of the description, I don't think I'm gonna like this book as much as Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, just because it is quite different. This seems a little bit more like a literary fiction romance, but it does sound very, very cozy. It might be a good like December read. It says, A.J. Fikry's life is not at all what he expected it to be. He lives alone, his bookstore is experiencing the worst sales in its history, and now his prized possession, a rare collection of Poe poems, has been stolen. So it connects right with my Edgar Allan Poe book. But when a mysterious package appears at the bookstore, its unexpected arrival gives Fikry the chance to make his life over and see everything anew. And this one review says, the story reminds us all exactly why we read and why we love. So sounds really cute, and maybe after reading some of these darker thrillers, I'm gonna be itching to pick up this book. Okay, now we have another book that would be perfect to read for October. Might just have to redo my whole TBR. But this is 19 Claws, I believe. It's covered up with a sticker. 19 Claws and a Blackbird, and this is a short story collection. And I'm gonna butcher this poor person's name, Augustina Bozcharica. And she wrote Tender is the Flesh, which it says was like a big TikTok hit. Must have missed that. Not on TikTok. But I think this is gonna be just like a spooky collection of short stories. And I do personally really, really love short stories. That's something that I myself want to get a little bit more into writing. So let me know if you've read this or if you have read Tender as the Flesh. Alright, just a few more from Book Outlet, and then we will move into just the other random books that I've picked up over the last few months. This is a pretty recent one. This is End of Story by A.J. Finn. So he actually wrote The Woman in the Window, which did really well. I never got a chance to read that one. I think I do have it though. And that was turned into a movie or a Netflix series or something. But yeah, this one just came out this year in 2024. Sounds like this is split between 2019 and 1999. And I love that it's set partly in the 90s because I feel like maybe it's just the books that I'm picking up, but I don't read many books that are set during that time, and that's when I was a kid growing up. This sounds so interesting to me. It says, "I'll be dead in 3 months, come tell my story." So writes Sebastian Trapp, mystery novelist to his longtime correspondent Nikki Hunter, an expert in detective fiction. With mere months to live, Trapp invites Nikki to his spectacular San Francisco mansion to help draft his life story. Soon Nikki finds herself caught in an irresistible case of real-life detective fever. So that's the 2019 timeline, and then it also is set in 1999. But it says for fans of Knives Out. So if you love that movie, as I do, I would consider looking into this one. I had never heard of this before browsing on Book Outlet, but I do like to spend a lot of time on there when I am going to place an order, and I spent a lot of time reading the book blurbs, and yeah, this one was not on my radar, but it sounded super interesting to me. So this is The Bee Sting by Paul Murray, and this was just written last year in 2023. I feel like I'm taking forever to talk about these books, so I will just say that this is some kind of family saga, which I absolutely love family sagas. East of Eden is one of my top books of the year, and I've read many others that just follow a family or a person over a long period of time, and I find that I pretty much always love the books. So this is a thick one. I think this is going to be a good, like, dead of winter book, but really eager to look into this. And then the last book that I did get from Book Outlet is The Brothers Hawthorne, which is the 4th book in the Inheritance Game series. I have only read the first book. I do have the other 3. And I liked the first book, but I honestly came into it with the wrong expectations. I was thinking it was just going to be a different kind of book than it was. But I just finished another series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes called The Naturals, which I absolutely loved, and it definitely made me want to dive back into the Inheritance Game series. And kind of like that random Truly Devious book I picked up, once I saw this on Book Outlet, I figured might as well get it when I can get it for just a few dollars. So don't really want to look too much into it because I don't want to spoil the other books in the series, and I definitely don't want to spoil them for you. But basically, at least the first book in the Inheritance Games follows the main character who is kind of like down on her luck. She doesn't have a lot of money, and she finds out she is inheriting a lot of money from this family. And there are some boys, there are some love interests going on, and I think this book will be following them more than anything. All right, second box down. And now I will get into just the other random books that I've been picking up. And all of these I specifically sought out, so all of these were very high on my priority list of books to buy this year. So these first 2 I got on one of the big Amazon sales days. It's The Hobbit and then the books in the Lord of the Rings series. And I had been eyeing these beautiful books because I wanted really, really nice copies of the Lord of the Rings. Like the pages are sprayed and stenciled. There's like maps inside. There's pictures in the books. And then the Lord of the Rings is the same thing. So I'm not someone that's super huge into collecting like really pretty books like this, but I figured I didn't have copies of any of these books yet, and I did want to get nice ones and display them, so I did go ahead and get them, I think on like an earlier Amazon Prime day. So if you know somebody who does love Lord of the Rings, I personally love the movies so much and have been wanting to read the books for so long, these could for sure be a very good Christmas gift for somebody. Now we have The Housemaid is Watching, which is the new book from Frida McFadden. It is the 3rd book in the Housemaid series. The Housemaid books are the only ones that I have read from her, but I've heard really good things about a lot of other ones, especially Never Lie. So let me know what else I should read from Frida McFadden. But as you might guess from the title, this does follow a maid, and I like that the books are actually set kind of far apart. It's not one after the other, so you can kind of see how the main character is growing and developing. And I really liked both of the first 2 books. I did not see the twist coming, so very, very eager to get into this 3rd one. And then also finishing out a series, I did pick up A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. I was originally going to wait until this came out in paperback because I have the first two in paperback, but honestly I just could not wait to finish this series. I love the first two so much. So if you like more fairy tale fantasy, I would highly recommend checking out this series. The first one's called Once Upon a Broken Heart. And yeah, I thought honestly it was just going to be like another romantasy series, one that didn't really stand out to me, but really love these books. And I am trying to be better about not letting so much time go in between reading books in one series, so I definitely want to finish this before the end of the year. And because I've been loving the Once Upon a Broken Heart series so much, I did just go ahead and pick up the Caraval trilogy, I think it's what it's called. So by the same author, it's Caraval, Legendary, and then Finale. And it says The Hunger Games meets The Night Circus, which I love. I love both of those books. So I think I'm going to totally eat up these books, probably read these in the winter. And then I did want to get Kate Quinn and Janie Chang's The Phoenix Crown. I really love Kate Quinn's writing style. I've never read anything by Janie Chang before. And this is their new historical fiction novel that did just come out this year in 2024. And I love this setting. It's set in San Francisco in 1906. I don't think I've ever read anything set in San Francisco, and I love that 1906, that early 1900s time period. And it says that this is a thrilling and unforgettable narrative about the intertwined lives of two wronged women spanning from the chaos of the San Francisco earthquake to the glittering palaces of Versailles. Fun fact, I have been to Versailles. I had to pretty much run through it because I had, I think, about 20 minutes when I was on a school trip in high school, but it was absolutely crazy. Huge mansion, everything's gold, and I for sure want to go back there in the future. Okay, and then last but certainly not least, we have Project Hail Mary, which I've been wanting to read for so long. I've been looking out for this at book sales, at thrift stores, and I just have not been able to find it. So I did bite the bullet and I probably paid like $15 for this, but I'm okay with it because I feel like this is going to be one of my new favorite books. I've heard such good things. I've heard such good things about this author. He did write The Martian, and both Project Hail Mary and The Martian are so well received. Like, everybody loves them. I'll just read this one review on the back. It says, "Reading Project Hail Mary is like going on a field trip to outer space with the best science teacher you've ever had, and your class assignment is to save the world. This is one of the most original, compelling, and fun voyages I've ever taken." Also has good reviews by Blake Crouch, who wrote Dark Matter. Definitely gotta read that one. Tim Peake, who wrote Limitless. George R.R. Martin, who wrote Game of Thrones. And Brandon Sanderson, one of the most successful authors of all time. So many good reviews. Cannot wait to read this book. Alright everybody, so I hope you did enjoy this video. Of course, I love sharing my big book hauls with you guys. And the library is, of course, free 99, but if you are a book collector as well as a book reader like myself, then I would highly recommend checking out Book Outlet to get new books for a great price. Again, not sponsored, just love the site. But if you like this video, please make sure to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe. It really does help my channel out a lot. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!